My name is Bill. Welcome to the 1 minute late Night Terrors Viewers Research Show, Monday night edition. Welcome to Oh No, It's Taco, first on site. We're looking for suggestions, Taco. In the meantime, we are keeping up our regular schedule here on Night Terrors. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Verpine says good evening. And hope everyone had a great Labor Day weekend in the U.S. Oh no, it's Taco says hello to all. Yes, happy Labor Day, everybody. Taco wants to know what happened to Elaine Kahn. Let's find out. Green Tea says Heidi Ho. A French singer. Elaine Kahn, a French singer born in 1944, disappeared in 1990 while last seen at the Rue de la Pomme Parisienne metro station. Despite extensive efforts, his fate remains unknown. According to French law, he was declared dead a decade later. KH Matt is here, says, hey, delivering pizzas. And he delivers pizzas. Welcome, Matt. David Rice says good evening to everyone. Welcome, David. Let's see. Goodwill Records. Let's try this. Something costs $77. What is it? It's a record? Whatever happened? A used LP. Wow, a whole LP about the mystery. That's really interesting. He was seen at the last time inside the metro. For U.S. viewers, that's the subway. The release of this LP, which is a phonograph record, you may have seen them in museums. They're like 12 inches in diameter. This is a cult album, very hard to find. It's punk rock. I guess it's one of his albums, and not a speaking album. For a second, I thought it was a speaking album. But the title is Whatever Happened to Him. Huh. Nose Pickin' wants to know if Matt bought enough pizza for everyone. I'm sure he can. Verpine has a topic. Thank you, Verpine. That's coming up, sir. Green Tea laments our age. Discogs. Another record story, evidently. Forum Motion. When are we going to get a story here? It's the album again, evidently. There's the back of the album. Side A, side B. Another music one, another one, Spotify. Psychedelia discussion at BraveNet. XX Blacksmith says hello to all. Welcome, Double X. Psychedelia, huh? How could he be there? Well, he's a musical artist. Where's something not about his albums? Let's try Wikipedia. Wikidata. Not Wikidata. Secondhand songs. Well, there's not many stories about the disappearance itself. SoundCloud, Deezer, Jazz, Rock, and Soul. Here we go, Blogger. Translate. Yes, please translate from Spanish into English. This ought to be interesting. I see no translation whatsoever. Oh, yes, it is. Van Gogh Flowers is basically a personal browsing archive, edited in the form of a blog zine. Alain Kane was a French musical artist, popularly subversive for his open declaration of his alternate lifestyle and political maniacism, with several stages in his career marked by a period crooner pop, initially influenced by Jacques Brel and Paul Anka, going through a later androgynous immersion in the cabaret, glam rock, or punk, ultimately turned into a figure of the gala subculture. What is the gala subculture? Subculture Party 5-year anniversary. Subculture Party, Subculture Networks. What about gala there, people? List of subcultures, hopefully with short definitions. Gee. No gala, of course. Glam, but no gala. Maybe they mean glam. His track was lost in 1990. His track was lost. Oh, he disappeared in 1990. Last seen at a Paris metro station. Disappeared since then. Remember, this is translated from the Spanish. He was officially declared dead in the year 2000, although the body never resurfaced. There's been speculation of his end, dominating the theory of self-harm, because he was in a downgraded state, or a D-Rug related murder, adding to the options of the influence of loving disdain. The title of his 1979 album, What Was Alan Z. Kane, probably inspired by the film What Happened to Baby Jane, he became like it. And repeating the crooner pop. I'd like to hear the speculation, though. Green tea with an idea. Thank you, green tea. Got it. Ooh, I like that. There's a link from green tea as well. Open that up next. Thank you, green tea. Let's go to something that's not translated. Whatever happened to TikTok? Maybe that will give us a better idea of some conjecture of what happened to him. No, it's TikTok Music, the name of the album. Okay, Wikipedia, the real Wikipedia. In French, of course. Translate. No, thanks. Where's the English Wikipedia? Maybe we'll give it a try. But Let's do it in a separate tab. Translating from the French. Can we translate from the French? That's to edit it. No. I don't see a translation option. Sam Hine is here. Thank you, Sam. Nose Pickin' has arrived. Still talking about pizza. Do I get my pizza for free if it's not here in 30 minutes? In Binghamton, New York. Drive fast, he warns. Okay, let's move on to number 2. So sorry, Taco. That led to nowhere within the first quarter hour of the show. My apologies. Please come up with... Please, we welcome your next suggestion. Next up, let's jump ahead a little bit and see that elongated skull story provided by Green Tea. And Verpine with a link. Thank you, Taco. All right, so first Green Tea. Elongated skull with perfect teeth. Unearthed in Russia. Well, that Aztec is that Mayan is a long, long way from home. It's the Mayans did the head, right? Was that the Aztecs? An enigmatic skeleton with an elongated skull and immaculate teeth. Must have had some of that back in the day. Has recently been unearthed in Russia. Below is the official statement from the archaeological team. Accept our cookies. In November of 2018, the employees of the Institute of Archaeology of the Caucasus began the excavations of the Gomerzevsky settlement, occupying the top and slopes of the elevation between the Nazranka and the Sunza rivers. What is that, like a weapon? Bronze arrowhead. Bronze Age, people. Right before the collapse, evidently. Perhaps. During the excavation, a large number of economic holes were identified. They are round in plan and cylindrical in section. In addition to the typical finds, several pits have found human remains. Must be translated from the Russian. Along with numerous bones of wild and domestic animals, ceramics, bronze arrowheads, women's ornaments, belonging, according to preliminary data, the Bronze Age. Of great interest is the unique find, a female skeleton with artificial deformation of the skull and neck, which dates from the 4th to 5th centuries A.D. Based on the statements above, the archaeological team seems to conclude the elongation is the result of artificial deformation. But what if, in this case, it is actually due to genetics? At first glance, this skull appears to have more cranial mass than average human skulls. Absolutely. Look at that. Well, yeah, wow. It surely does. Just a few years ago, an infant skeleton estimated to be 2K years old and possessing a very large elongated skull was discovered near this same area in Russia. As you can see in the picture below, this skull has much more cranial mass than normal skulls. This being found in Crimea, which I think now belongs to Russia at the time being. These elongated skulls found near the Black Sea region closely resembled the Paracas found in Peru. Many of the Paracas skulls are approximately 25% larger than conventional human skulls on the average. Cradle head boarding is not able to add more cranial mass to a skull. These skulls also feature larger eye sockets and missing suture lines. Oh, no kidding. Isn't that interesting? No suture lines, which are supposed to occur at the top of the head. I think like a cross, aren't they? I don't know for sure. Almost perfect, immaculate, and well-preserved teeth have also been associated with many of the ancient giant skeletons discovered in North America. Below is a short video we cannot see because of copyright reasons. References. Fascinating. Thank you, Green Tea. Next up, we'll skip ahead a little bit to the link from Verpine. This can go, right? All this can go. At todayonline.com by Brian Wong. In China, you can be paid $1,000 to dress up as Sun Wukong and be fed by tourists. My favorite activity. For up to 3 hours at a time. $1,000 for that. Okay. Let me get on TripAdvisor. If you're looking for an unforgettable gig, here's one to consider. Dress up as the monkey god, Sun Wukong. Stick yourself in a cave for 2 to 3 hours at a time, and be fed food throughout your shift. And no, you don't need to monkey around with acrobatics. Looks like some pretty good Planet of the Apes makeup there. Oh, those are two different monkeys. Two different volunteers. I thought one was feeding the other. Maybe they are. Let's find out. According to a Chinese news outlet, a job listing by the operator of Taihang Wuzishan Scenic Area in China's Hebei province is offering 6,000 yuan, or $1,140 American, per month for the role. Oh, per month. Poverty wages. There are no academic requirements. Mainly, you must have a fondness for Sun Wukong and a certain level of acting talent, and have a lively, cheerful, and friendly disposition to interact with tourists, says the manager. The attraction mimics a scene from Chinese folklore, Journey to the West, where Sun Wukong was trapped by Buddha under a mountain for 500 years before the holy monk Tang San Sang freed him. Clips of tourists feeding the actors apples and bananas have gone viral. Really? Oh, we can't do video. One child was even spotted getting his mother to prepare cup noodles upon his request. One child was even spotted getting his mother to prepare cup noodles to feed to the actor, I guess. Oh my goodness. And they're the kitties. Looks like he's in a Star Trek uniform. Yellow, that's a command uniform in Next Gen. Netizens flooded the comments section with many poking fun at the role. One user said, "What kind of amazing job is that? And this free food and a salary, if you call that a salary." "Will you accept girls?" asked another. Some were concerned for the health of the actors, with one joking about bringing Sun Wukong digestive biscuits. The manager assured the public that the actors need not finish everything on the spot and can even save it for other colleagues after their shift. In a bid to show that all aspects of the job have been catered for, you should not end a for is a preposition, right? The company said they have also installed a heater in the cave, just in case it gets too cold. Hopefully not a gas heater. It is said that 2 people have already been hired to play the mythical character, with only 1 more spot to be filled. Posted on January 4th of this year. So you can still go over, man. You can see them. You can feed them. Evidently no women allowed, though. That one we won't deal with. Taco says, I wonder what would happen if you dressed up as Monkey, Pigsy, Sandy, Tripitaka, or Yulung. Next up is Verpine again. Let's skip that since we just did Verpine. We'll come back to you, Verpine. And go to green tea. With the topic, congratulations, Brooke Birch, on your stream. On your streak. Your stream streak. Congratulations, Brooke. The Flatwoods Monster. Visit Braxton, West Virginia. Braxton. Center yourself here. Yeah, center yourself here. It was almost fully dark on the evening of September 12th, 1952. Edward May, Freddie May, Neil Nunley, and Tommy Heyer, all young residents of the town of Flatwoods, were playing on the lawn of the Flatwoods Elementary School. Suddenly, a bright light streaked across the sky overhead and appeared to crash into a hillside on Bailey Fisher's farm. The boys ran to see what it was they saw in the sky. The Mays home was on their way, so they stopped to tell their mother, Kathleen, what they had seen. Kathleen called on National Guardsman Eugene Lemon and the family dog Richie to accompany her and the boys to the crash site. Upon reaching the site of the crash, the group saw a pulsing red light. Lemon shone his flashlight up the hill. That's torched few people in the UK. And the group witnessed a terrifying sight, a 10-foot-tall creature with a head shaped like a spade, and what appeared to be a dark metal dress. The creature's hands were twisted and clawed, and what seemed to be its eyes glowed with an eerie orange color. It appeared to levitate off the ground. A strange, sickening mist hung in the air. The creature hissed and glided quickly forward toward the witnesses. The group then turned and fled in terror. Some of the members of the group suffered from throat irritation, vomiting, and nausea, which persisted for days. These symptoms were passed off as side effects of hysteria, but it's worth noting that these are also telltale signs of exposure to mustard gas. What exactly is mustard gas? I know they used it during World War I. Mustard gas or sulfur of mustard are names commonly used for a chemical organosulfur compound. Okay. Gas is technically incorrect. The substance, when dispersed, are often a fine mist of droplets. Yeah, they stick to you, I guess. Viscous at room temperature, and an odor resembling mustard plants, or garlic, or horseradish, hence the name. So no mustard involved, but just from the odor. History as chemical weapons. Sulfur mustard is a type of chemical warfare agent, first used in World War I, and used since then in several armed conflicts, including the Iran-Iraq War, resulting in more than 100,000 casualties. I keep getting this pop-up. What is this? Oh, explanation of the Great War. Today, mustard gas is regulated under Schedule 1 of the Chemical Weapons Convention because it has few uses other than in chemical warfare. Although since then, it's been found to be useful in cancer chemotherapy. The agents can be deployed by means of artillery shells, aerial bombs, or rockets. May and Lemon reported the incident to local authorities, who searched the area that night and claimed to find nothing. Isn't that weird? They found nothing at all. Of course, in the woods, you know. What's a Flatwoods ground pounder? Another sighting of a creature similar in description to the Flatwoods monster was reported by Mrs. Audra Harper, not long before the more infamous sighting. So this is previous. Harper claims to have seen the monster while walking through the woods near her home, near the town of Heaters. Not to be confused with a popular restaurant. Heaters is about 5 miles north of Flatwoods. Harper and her friend were walking to a nearby store. The road leading out of their property was implacable and rutted. Implacable? Oh no, I have no idea. Implacable. Dictionary.com. Implacable. Not to be appeased or pacified. Implacable enemy. So, no defense against it. There was no defense against the road out of their property. It was rutted. So they were taking a shortcut through the forest instead of walking the road, which would have increased their trip significantly. And it was implacable. About a half mile into their trip, they noticed a ball of fire on one of the hills they were passing. Ball of fire in this sighting, and big red glow in the second more popular sighting, or a more well-known sighting. Harper dismissed it, assuming one of her neighbors was fox chasing. Okay, guys, fox chasing. Chasing foxes. Fox hunting. Fox chasing stock photos. Fox chasing rabbit stock images. Chasing the fox. I don't think I'm going to be able to find out here in a reasonable amount of time, but maybe pictures might help. Fox chasing stock photos. Evidently, it involves a bright light. When she glanced back, she saw something unbelievable. The fire had vanished. And in its place stood a tall, dark silhouette, shaped like a man. Terrified, Harper and her friend ran, escaping among rocks and boulders strewn around the hillside. The day after the September 12th incident in Flatwoods, so this is now after the popularized incident, another strange sighting occurred near Strange Creek. That's the name of it, Strange Creek. About 20 miles south of Flatwoods. Reportedly, George and Edith Sanowski and their 18-month-old son were driving through the rural area between Clay and Braxton County on Route 4 when suddenly their car died. Mr. Sanowski attempted to restart the car, to no avail. It was nighttime, and the road was deserted. While the Sanowskis were trying to decide what to do, a foul, sulphurous smell filled the air, and their baby began to cry, the sulfur of mustard gas. Right? A strange, bright light filled the darkness. Again, the light filled the darkness, and the couple witnessed a 10-foot-tall creature hovering in front of their car. Same height, same hovering. The description is similar to that of the original sighting, except the monster was not wearing what is presumed to be its spade-shaped hood. Like a space helmet. Instead, its head was reportedly reptilian and bony. The creature dragged its lizard-like hand across the hood of the car before drifting away into the woods. As soon as the monster was out of sight, the car restarted, and the couple sped away. EMP. Sanowski would later give his account for Mail magazine in July of 1955. Mail magazine, I must know. I've heard of Fate magazine. What about Mail magazine? Various Mail magazines. No. The name of the magazine is Mail magazine. Let's try Images. Oh, no. No. Dare we? No, we better not do Images. How about going to Google and putting in quotes? I know quotes work at Google. Oh, there we go. Mail magazine. Of July, no year given on the cover. The American hero who escaped red-held Tibet, definitely the 50s, with 19 daughters of joy. Mistress of the Mediterranean, infamous prison hole, we're going to call it. And our Army's greatest bayonet fighter in Mail magazine from July of some unknown year in the 50s. This is where he had his story published. Good Time Girls of Place Pigalle, or Place Pigalle, Placa Pigalle. Mr. Roberts, the Navy's greatest story. Ambush of the Black Cat. Well, there's hunting is featured on the cover. So all kinds of male adventuring, evidently. January, again, no year given. 25 cents. Which is probably like $2.50 back then. Maybe more. I mean, these days, I'm thinking my own childhood. Maybe these days, $12.50. Our greatest seaborne mystery. Did Radio Man George sink the Morro Castle? True book length. Previously banned, The Naked Diaries of Rhoda Ringman Hoyt. At 26, this fabulous South Sea joy girl had an army of men calling her Your Highness. Oh, we did that story. Or one very much like it. Mail Adventuring Magazine. 100 ships, 1,000 planes, and 10,000 men are searching for Commander Johnny Rogers, America's great sky devil. The Navy sent him to Honolulu. in a newfangled crate that never should have left the ground. Well, that's where he had his story published. Probably not this issue, but who knows? These stories have become an eerie folktale, creating a fascinating culture in the small towns around the country. An ice cream shop called The Spot opened in Flatwoods, offering a photo op with a painted iteration of the monster. What if there are old pictures of that? The Spot of Flatwoods. I must know. Again in quotes. The Spot, Flatwoods. West Virginia is correct. It's still there today. But now it's Dairy Queen, evidently. Oh, Dairy Bar. See photos. The Spot. Is that the one in West Virginia? Google reviews. The Spot, Flatwoods. Facebook, The Spot. From Flatwoods, West Virginia. Yep, same place. So it says here, see photos. Ah, there's the sign. Can we open that in a new tab? The Spot. At September 12th, 1952. Home of the Flatwoods Monster. Oh, and there's holes in here so you can put your faces through and get your picture taken. Isn't that quaint? But if you're this guy, you have to be looking up towards the Flatwoods Monster. This woman probably down and looking away. If you want to do it right. The inside of the newest iteration of The Spot. Just outside The Spot. Don't want those cars to run into your windows. There's another picture that makes more obvious there are holes for your face to put through. For which to put your face through. Through which to put your face through. Do we get any people doing it? Oh, here we go. They're not doing it right, of course. Totally not right. Oh, wait, it's different. This guy is not looking at the monster. This guy's running away from the monster. So their heads are oriented correctly. You got a guy here and a girl here. Yeah, they updated their sign. Isn't that interesting? Probably because the other one, everyone was forgetting to look at the monster if they were the guy. Okay, I promise I'll stop. Offering a photo op with a painted iteration of the monster. A museum dedicated to the monster story operates in the town of Sutton, a few miles south of Flatwoods. 5 huge chairs, built and painted in the monster's image, have been erected around the country. Although the monster has not been seen since the original incidents in '52, its impact on the rural community has been huge. Sometimes if you stand outside at night, you can almost feel it, like the monster left a gift from the stars for us. Article by Marilyn Hosey. Thank you, Marilyn. Next up is Rapine. By the way, you guys, if you come up with a suggestion, highlight it so I know to look over and select it. We're doing Rapine now, and we need suggestions because we are out of suggestions after this one from Rapine. So please highlight it. Well, Gotchaman says the Sons of Mars. I got that one. from Brooke Birch. Thank you. Thank you, Gotcha Man. Verpine says, well, you can rock it, you can roll it. Do the stomp and even stroll it at the stop. My apologies for the off-key singing. Okay, from Verpine. Bigfoot War, I got it, Sam Hine. You guys are going to have to highlight, though, if you want me to look at it, okay? Thank you, Sam, I got it. And Verpine wishes to know about the Wizard of Ray. Cool. No, not that one. This one. Oh, gosh. Sorry, I'm doing some paperwork over here. Abandon changes. Hope I still have that. Here. Rename. Boom. Go. Okay. The Wizard of Ray from Verpine. Thank you, sir. Villains Wiki. I like it already. Let's go here. Do we have to go back to Google for this? Maybe so. The Wizard of Ray. Again, the Villains Wiki. Smoo Cave. Ah. British Fae Folk. Greensleeves and other Scottish tales. Some thoughts on fairy magic. A site studying and discussing British fairy lore. It is britishfairies.wordpress.com. Where is the Ray? How do you spell it? R-E-A-Y. Search for R-E-A-Y. Oh, it's titled Wizard of Ray. That's the topic. Is it actually in here, though? Fairies are under the control of Blue Wing and will perform an endless range of arduous tasks. Oh, what? These fairies. Several observations can be made about these fairies. What particularly interests me about the story of Greensleeves is the way in which the prince is assisted in his tasks by the wizard's daughter, Blue Wing. She is a swan maiden who can shapeshift into bird form. We're getting tons of highlights over here. Okay, Taco's Highway of Death. Thank you, Taco. Sounds excellent. Green Tea's Oregon Vortex. Thank you. Very nice, ma'am. Very, very nice. And Verpine's The Menk. I like it. Thank you, Verpine. Off topic. That does sound good, though. I got you, gotcha. Thank you, gotcha. Oh, and I allow that as well. She helps them complete every challenge using a magic box containing thousands of fairies. Just as Greensleeves and Nothing have echoes of the labors of Hercules, so too here there is a memory of Pandora's box. Yet this one is full of benign sprites. Benign meaning friendly or harmless. And the outcome will be true love requited and a couple living happily ever after. Several observations can be made about these 1,000 fairies. Is it 1,000? Thousands. One is that apparently they are verging on the microscopic in size. meaning that, to grossly misquote John Lennon, now we know how many fays it takes to fill a magic box. I don't quite get that one. While British folklore generally accepts the majority of fairy folk are about the size of children aged about 11 or 12, albeit with exceptions, we very rarely hear of them being reduced to the size of insects like midges. This might well make us suspect the influence of Pandora's myth is especially strong in this tale. The second point is that these fairies are under the control of Blue Wing, the Swan Lady, and will perform an endless range of arduous tasks, but very quickly, and very quickly. Here we are on familiar ground. In the Scottish account of the Red Book of Menteith, a fairy queen had banished some troublesome elves into the Red Book. The condition was they would only be released when the Laird of Menteith opened the book. Eventually, this happened by mistake. And instantly, the released fairies appeared before him, demanding work. To be freed of them, he had to set them various impossible tasks to complete. Scottish fairy lore also tells of a spell book owned by the Wizard of Ray. So it's a spell book. This seems to have had powers very similar to those of the Red Book. The wizard's young servant... I lost my cup. Peeks inside the tome. The wizard's young servant peeks inside the book and is instantly surrounded by little men demanding that he give them work to do. That he give them work to do. Oh no, Taco says you need stronger coffee. I wish I had some of yours, Taco, but please don't risk the wrath of the post. It's too bad there's no FedEx that crosses the waters. Just as in the previous story, he asked first for them to make ropes of heather. Okay, I know it's a plant. Making ropes of heather. It's supposed to be an impossible task? What is heather? Where's our dictionary? Disappeared. This is now our dictionary. Any of various heaths. Having small pinkish purple flowers. What we need is Yandex. For heather. Images, please. Of heather. And there's a bunch of heathers. Oh, come on, guy. Oh, there we go. There's the heather. Okay. Heather plant. Oh, nice. That's over in Scotland, huh? We have something similar to this that grows not quite as large, not quite as tall, called the Devil's Paintbrush in our area here in upstate New York. They grow in a couple of different colors, though, not just purple. As does heather, evidently. But they're short. They're like 6 inches. This seems to grow to a foot or more. So they quickly made ropes of heather. Then he asked for ropes of sand. When this proved impossible, they deserted the wizard. The confinement or laying away of fairies within some sort of object would seem to be, like a book, would seem to be quite a well-known idea in Scotland. Certainly, the imposition of apparently impossible tasks is a common theme of Scottish stories. Other examples include several tales that pair the fairy's spinning skills with a task imposed upon a human that can be both impossible and fatal if it's not completed. Okay, we're beyond the ray now. Thank you to Verpine. Thank you, sir. Next up is Brooke Birch. Taco says, I believe it has to be braided and twisted to make good rope. I bet. Yeah, I'm sure there's tons of prep in that. And from Brooke, the Sons of Mars. Or from Brooke by way of Gotcha Man, or from Gotcha Man in suggestion to Brooke. One of those. The Sons of Mars. As Roman allies, the Sons of Mars were secure in their captured city. But after the First Punic War, they could no longer act as pirates. Boy, that looks interesting. And ... The Sons of Mars and HistoryToday.com. Yeah, we'll accept your cookies. Thank you. Thanks for the cookies. The struggle for control of the straits, dividing Sicily from southern Italy. Sicily's the island, right? The straits, so the water between the island and the mainland, brought the two great empires of the Mediterranean, Carthage and Rome, head to head. So Carthage was on Sicily. It was a world in which ruthless mercenaries prospered. The Sons of Mars. I guess those are the mercenaries. I need to swap hands here. Gotcha Man says, like Rumpelstiltskin. Guess the name. Hero II, the ruling general of the Greek city-state of Syracuse, led a campaign 265 years before Christ north towards a coastal Sicilian city, Messana, I guess after landing on Sicily, held by a group of Campanian mercenaries known as the Mamertines. The Mamertines. Mamertines. The Campanians were part of a vast Oscan tribal group, originally from the Apennine Mountains, who now had settled in the southern Italian region of Campania, across the strait. By the end of the 5th century BC, the hill tribes had invaded the nearby plains, displacing the Etruscan and Greek inhabitants of the region, taking control of nearly all the land between Salerno and Cumae. As the decades passed, the mountain dwellers gradually let go of their old way of life and adopted the civic lifestyle of the people they had conquered. The newly sedentary Campanians appealed to the Romans for their help in their against their aggressive neighbors, the Samnites. In 343 BC, which actually predates Hero II, Rome came to their aid, and in turn, the Campanians became subjects of the Republic. From then on, the Campanians were considered civites sine suffragio, meaning they had all the privileges of Roman citizens, but without the right to vote in Rome. Sounds similar to their relationship to the Jewish people. Regardless of their new status as subjects under Roman hegemony, the Campanians, and particularly the Mamertines, never relinquished their martial skills. Martial meaning military, perhaps? I doubt they're going over with Kung Fu, right? In fact, the two major powers in Sicily, the Carthaginians and the island's Greek city-states. Oh, so there were Greeks on Sicily, as well as the Carthaginians, had relied on southern... Boy, is this dense. Had relied on southern Italy as a plentiful source of mercenaries ever since the Oscan people seized the Campanian plain. Yeah, no, a little thick history today. Can you answer with AI, please? Where do they answer with AI? Control C. That's probably here. Control V. Answer with AI. Refers to multiple entities and concepts, the sons of Mars, throughout history and fiction. In ancient Italy, the Mamertines, a group of mercenaries, seized the city of Messina, Sicily. They were later known as the Sons of Mars, Latin Mamertini, due to their association with the war god Mars in the Oscan language of the Campanians, so their enemies named them. The Mamertines were notorious for their violence and pillaging, sacking, and plundering cities along the southern coast of Sicily. No, they were part of the Campanians, or at least friendly with them. So they were named by themselves. My apologies. In mythology, Mars, the god of war, had an affair with Rhea Silvia, a Vestal virgin. She conceived twin sons, Romulus and Remus, who would later found the city of Rome. These were the mythological sons of Mars. And in modern fiction, the Sons of Mars is also the title of a progression fantasy story, War Casket, The Sons of Mars, which explores themes of loyalty, honor, and survival in a dark and gritty world. The story takes place in the distant future, where humanity has colonized other planets and encounters an ancient alien race. Wow, I would like to check that out. You'll see a flash. When you see a flash, that means I'm getting a picture of my screen. And that was Verpines, I believe. Thank you, Verpine. No, that was Brooke Birch slash Gotchaman. Thank you, Brooke Birch slash Gotchaman. Next up. Oh no, it's Taco. Good one. Ooh, that looks interesting. Someone suggested the Bigfoot War of 1855. And I don't even have who suggested it. My apologies, guys. I lost the name. But here it is. The Bigfoot War of 1855. Please step forward if it was your suggestion. And take credit. How did I lose that? Edit. I just did. It's gone. Sorry, guys. The 1855 Sasquatch conflict. A series of events and battles between humans and Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, in the region of Oklahoma and Arkansas in 1855. The events took place in the Choctaw Nation, a Native American territory where the once mighty Choctaw Nation had ruled until the 1830s. According to various sources, including podcasts and films, they're basing... You're basing your information on podcasts? That is so sad. And films? So sad. There's got to be something better. Notable sources: Tinfoil Hat podcast, and 2014 Bigfoot Wars. It remains a mysterious and largely undocumented event. Here we go. That's Pinterest. That means pictures, right? Idaho? Amazon, a podcast. Mysterious Universe, thank you. Nose Pickin' asks, since your Koji and GoFundMe links are no good, you have another donation site. Nose Pickin', I do. Allow me to pass along I probably get it faster from my description. It's in the description. Yeah, I'll go to the description of a video. Video. Detail. Not one of those videos. One of the recent videos. Recent videos. And that's here. And there we are live at the top, by the way. And description. Details. And okay. I got a Venmo now. God help me. So here's my Venmo, guys. Come on. Thank you, Nose Pickin', for asking. What else is there? There's always Patreon. The coffee fund for Bill's no longer working. That should be working. This one should be working as well. Tell me if this has not worked for you, Nose Pickin'. There's the two that I have. And of course, for those with a surplus of cash, there's always Patreon. Not meaning to belittle my current Patreon viewers. But I can't afford it myself. I so greatly appreciate your support. And that is here. It doesn't work. I know the Koji doesn't work anymore. I know that, yeah. I gotta make sure I make that change. Thank you, Nose Pickin'. Change Koji link. Yeah, Koji went out of business. Or they were bought by somebody. Thank you, Nose Pickin'. I appreciate it. Article access denied. Please sign up. Oh, come on, guys. That's sad. We don't want to let you see our article. Bought by Linktree. Nose Pickin' confirms. Thank you, Nose Pickin'. Legend of Bigfoot. Stream episode. Spotify. Tons of podcasts, right? Here we go. At Geo7. It's okay for cookies? Wait. Also another podcast, evidently. KH Matt claims open source becomes a product. Isn't that a contradiction in terms? I thought open source means it's not a product. You don't pay for open source, do you? I don't. Oh, wait, some people do sell it, actually. People with low morals. So you're right. Open source becomes a product. Another podcast. Come on, give me an article. Podvine. Blogger. Thank you. The following story may sound so weird. You might even think it came straight out of a science fiction novel, but believe me, the following events did happen. And there are historical artifacts that support it. Artifacts. The Great Bigfoot Human War of 1855, finally. Sam Hine with a suggestion. Thank you, Sam Hine. Got it. Countless wars and battles have been waged across the U.S., and most of them were chronicled in history books. But there is one so bizarre that it would feel at home in the science fiction aisles. The Great Bigfoot Choctaw War of 1855. According to legends of the Choctaw Indians, a long time ago, Thomas Tubby, a great Choctaw warrior, and his sons encountered a group of unusual beasts during their routine patrol through their territories. Although Choctaw Indians were already quite large in stature compared to surrounding tribes, Hamas and his 6 sons were significantly bigger than anyone else in their village. Standing at almost 7 foot tall, you could say the Tubbys were natural-born warriors, which in fact they were. Hamas and his sons were point riders in the Choctaw cavalry, ironically called the Light Horsemen. Because of their size and strength, the Tubbys were almost always at the forefront. And they were also tasked to keep the peace within the territory. So they're like the police cop guys, policemen. They're policing the territory. On one particular day, the Choctaw Cavalry's assignment was to flush out a band of raiders that had been victimizing some of the local farmers. So this is the cavalry of which the Hamas and his sons ride point. The captain of the 30-man strong cavalry was a man named Joshua Lafleur. Even though the captain was of mixed blood, half French, half Choctaw, the men of the cavalry had much respect for him, and they would be more than willing to follow him through hell and back, which they had actually done several times. However, this particular mission of theirs will test Lafleur and his men's mettle. Bandits had gotten quite bold, besides taking large amounts of corn and other vegetables from Choctaw villages. They also resorted to kidnapping young children. These atrocities had been taking place all over the Arkansas border and well into Choctaw Indian territory. So the cavalry have a long ride ahead of them, as they wish to flush out and exterminate the bandits. The Choctaw Cavalry had been traveling non-stop since they left their village at around 3 a.m. Their first stop was when they came to the Clover River. Eight hours of continuous riding can take a toll on even the most seasoned rider. This quick break helps the horses and the riders recoup their strength for the final leg of their journey. At around 4:30 p.m., Lafleur gave the signal to his men to get ready to embark. A couple hours into the last leg, Lafleur signaled the company to halt. It seemed that he saw something in the distance and needed to make sure it was their target or not. Standing on his stirrups, Gotchaman says, "Open source depends on the license with which it's distributed. He uses it a lot at work, and they don't need to pay for it. But he's also thinking they do need to pay for it because it's not personal use. It's for commercial use." Right. Well, I know some people, who are not supposed to charge for it, do charge for it. I know that is around. That occurs. Standing on his stirrups, LaFleur took out his telescope to get a better look. He estimated the bandits around 500 yards away. And lucky his men and their horses had got enough rest that they could mount a full-armed charge, with LaFleur and the tubby men at the front. The captain gave the order for the rest of the men to charge into the thick forest and smother the bandit groups. Everything seemed to go as planned. That is, until they reached the thickest part of the forest, where the bandits were hiding. They were greeted by a horrible stench of death and decay. The odor was so bad, some of the horses bucked. A bucking bronco. I have an anecdote here from second grade. Personal anecdote. The teacher asked for the name of a horse, and I said a bucking bronco. And she said, "That's not the name of a horse." I said, "Yes, it is." She said, "No, it's not." And I'm still pissed off. That's when we learned cursive, back when you could still learn cursive, in second grade. Only the horses of Captain LaFleur and those of the Tubbies were trained enough to still continue following their masters and go through with the attack. I think it's time to regroup at that point, Captain. However, much to the cavalry's surprise, something much more horrible was waiting for them in the bandits' camp. Question from Green Tea. Thank you, Green Tea. I got it. Upon reaching the clearing that was the bandits' hideout, the men were greeted by a mound of bloody bodies of unalived children in varying stages of decay. Most of the bandits, had already fled, but 3 very large ape-like creatures still remained in the camp. Oh, bandits with quotes. But 3 very large ape-like creatures still remained in the camp and were feasting on the bodies of the children. Captain LaFleur, even though he didn't know what to make of the scene, still managed to draw his saber and charge. One of the huge beasts dispatched LaFleur's horse with just one swing of its massive arm. Boy, this would be good for my new format. I'm calling it Format 4, by the way, because it's the 4th format I've explored here on NightTerrors. This would be a good story for that. You will see a flash. After recovering from his fall, LaFleur, with saber in one hand and a pistol in the other, continued his charge. The captain emptied the chambers of his Chambers. The captain emptied the chambers of his Colt revolver in the chest of one of the 8 beasts. But still, it kept charging. LaFleur hacked and stabbed at one of the beasts, even though each hit managed to draw blood. The beast was still standing. The engagement between the captain and the ape beasts were so sudden that the tubby men barely had time to react, and when they did, it was too late. One of the beasts managed to sneak up behind the captain and decapitated him. That means he lost his head. He literally lost his head. Upon seeing the headless body of their captain fall to the ground, the Tubbies wasted no time unloading round after round of their Sharps buffalo rifles upon the three beasts. Thanks to years of training and experience, almost all their bullets hit the beasts' heads, killing them instantly. Except for one. One injured ape beast tried to escape the Tubbies' assault, and it seemed that it would succeed in doing so, since the men had to reload their rifles. However, Robert, the youngest of the brothers, chased the beast and finished it off using his hunting knife. When the rest of the cavalry caught up with them, Robert had already decapitated the beast and let out a chilling primal yell. I guess Robert yelled, I guess. Once the cavalry regained their composure and their control over their mounts, they surveyed the lair of the beasts. All in all, the bandits had killed and supposedly eaten 19 human children. They buried the poor victims in 19 separate graves. And they buried their beloved captain and honored him with a 21-gun salute. As for the bandits, the cavalry threw the bodies of the beasts into a bonfire. The cavalry journeyed back to Tuscaloosa. And even though they were somewhat successful with their mission, the cavalry had to contend with all of the horrors they had seen. It is also doubtful if they were able to get back the way they were before the incident. I don't know what that means. Exactly. Next up, thank you, anonymous contributor. Next up. Oh no, Taco says, you must have been the devil's child to teach. Thank you, Taco. Okay, next. From... Where am I going? Where am I going? La, 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 la. Right here. Right here and here. Next is Taco. Mexico's Highway of Death. It refers to the Monterrey Nuevo Laredo Highway. Carretera Monterrey Nuevo Laredo. Also known as La Carretera de la Muerta, due to its notorious history of robberies, kidnappings, and disappearances. A 219-click stretch of Federal Highway 86 connects the states of Tamaulipas and Nuevo León, as well as the U.S.-Mexico border. So you can go from the border to these places. Many go missing on the Mexican Highway of Death from the Arizona Republic. By Deanna Garcia at azcentral.com. Their families continue to search for them. Oh, read in Spanish. No, we'll read in English, thanks. Notes from the editor: names of victims and their loved ones have been altered for their safety. Good idea. They call it the Highway of Death, or Carretera de la Muerta. It's a 136-mile highway that connects the cities of Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas, and Monterrey, Nuevo León in Mexico. and in it dozens of people have disappeared, leaving their loved ones and Mexican authorities clueless as to their whereabouts. Those clueless Mexican authorities. My apologies to our Mexican viewers. In September, Mexico's National Search Commission reported at least 71 people have disappeared while traveling on the highway since October 2020. Half a dozen of those are Americans. Relatives of those missing, however, say that victims exceed twice as much. The case of Pedro, who disappeared on April 23rd, is just one of them. That day, Pedro was traveling on the highway accompanied by a friend. They were running a private taxi service that day and transporting two families from Nuevo Laredo to Monterrey. Pedro's wife, Juana Maria, said that he contacted her when they were already on their way back to Monterrey. She hasn't heard from him since. Excuse me. Four families lost contact with their loved ones that day. Their loved ones made the decision to travel on this highway of death and join the more than 11,000 who have gone missing since '64 in the state of Tamaulipas. According to data from the Ministry of the Interior, Tamaulipas is one of the states with the highest number of forced disappearances that disappeared. The incessant search that Juana Maria undertook since that day in April is one through which hundreds of families go every year in the states of Nuevo León and Tamaulipas in search of their loved ones. They meet online with others who suffer the same loss, start their own search parties, and join efforts across the country to locate their loved ones. So they ran across drug traffickers, basically, right? Drug traffickers or guerrilla armies, right? Well, probably drug traffickers. I'm thinking, right? That's how the collective was born, called We Are All One, Collective Searching for Disappeared. From Nuevo León in Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas. After hours of not hearing from her husband in April, Juana Maria went to the authorities in Nuevo León to file a missing person report. However, because her husband went miss on a stretch of the highway that was within the border of the state of Tamaulipas, she was told to file the report there. She did as asked, and to date has not received an update on her husband's case. Juana Maria's experience is just one example of the little support that the families of those that go missing on that highway have from authorities. Where do we go? Where do we ask? Juana Maria says to the Lavats of the Arizona Republic. The Voice. At some point I said if I were here in Nuevo León, I think the police, with all the data I've provided them, would have located him by now, dead or alive. But over there it's difficult because it is already Tamaulipas, another state. So it's hard to get long-distance justice, I guess she's saying. The Attorney General's offices of the states of Tamaulipas and Nuevo León did not respond to a request for comment. In her desperation, Juana Maria began to search on social media, hoping for some kind of clue. What she discovered was something that terrified her. Her husband was not the only one that went missing on that road. There were many cases. And worst of all, after months and even years, their relatives were still searching. Here's another of the missing. Yes, Jorge and Ricardo. Went missing in 2021 when traveling from Monterrey to Nuevo Laredo. On Facebook, she said, I started to see there were more missing people. There were too many people who were going through the same thing, and they started to contact me. This is how the group was formed, unifying hundreds of indirect victims in their struggle to search for their loved ones. Sebastian is a member of their collective. He has been searching for his brother Jorge since he disappeared on May 25th. And that's him on the left here in this picture. According to Sebastian, his brother is one of two engineers from Monterrey who disappeared while traveling on this highway. He said that Jorge and his friend Ricardo were traveling from Monterrey to Nuevo Laredo for work. I guess not looking for work, but because of their work, I guess he means. Why is that not going down? It's not. It's not. Oh, now a delayed reaction there, right? On May 24th, we had dinner as a family at home. Ricardo, who was his friend for years, picked him up the next morning after they left for Nuevo Laredo. And we no longer heard from them, said Sebastian. We got the locations of their cell phones, of where they were, and it shows they were in the state of Tamaulipas, at the same point where they all disappear, he said. Yeah, why aren't the authorities and the army going to that point? I guess because they're not as well armed as the drug cartel. Or maybe the drug cartel is using like guerrilla warfare. Like Juana Maria, Sebastian and his family filed a missing person report in both states. Quote, he said, from there we began to investigate, to spread information through social media. That was how we found out they weren't the only ones who went missing. As more people joined the collective, a list of names of those missing was formed. Some are minors, others are foreigners, and some come from municipalities outside of Tamaulipas and Nuevo Leon, according to the collective's list. By the end of September, the names of about 150 people comprised the list. Only 3 or 4 women, fortunately, disappeared. At least 5 minors, unfortunately, disappeared. And the rest are men between 30 and 35 years. Juana Maria said. Most of them were truck drivers, she says. That's a pretty narrow range. Kids 3 to 16. Four women, 3 or 4 women. They don't give the ages. And then men 30 to 35. That's a narrow range. On the group's Facebook page, users post photos of loved ones who have gone missing, often showing the vehicle in which they were traveling. They also post the names of the people who have been found, alive or unalived. Juana Maria said, there are many people who lost their livelihood, their husbands, They left behind their children, some of whom were only a few months old. A rise in organized crime since 2006. In September, an extermination site, or Campo de Exterminato, or Campo de Exterminio, Campo de Exterminio, in Spanish, was located on the outskirts of the city of Nuevo Laredo, close to the highway. In this area, charred human remains were recovered at the surface level, said Carla Quintana, head of the National Search Commission. She describes the scene as a possible clandestine crematorium and suspects the presence of possible clandestine graves. Why would they take the time to bury them, though, right? If they can burn them above ground. According to Quintana, local cartels, in the case of Nuevo Laredo and Cartel del Noreste, a faction of the former Los Zetas cartel, use extermination sites such as the one found to dispose of people they've kidnapped and killed. The Committee on Enforced Disappearances of the United Nations made its first visit to Mexico on Monday, its first, formally starting its 11-day work period in the country to address the thousands of cases of missing persons. I'm surprised it's not tens of thousands. Maybe only thousands. Nuevo Leon and the Tamaulipas are among the 12 states the Commission intends to visit in order to meet with authorities, victims, civil rights organizations, and other human rights institutions. Verpine asks, why do people do anything? Good question, Verpine. Green Tea asks, why kill 11,000 people that were just passing through? Well, I think is they just happen upon them. They are, for some reason, they have to have access to the highway, right? Well, they probably transport stuff, but I think they happen upon members of the drug cartel. The drug cartel stops them, and that's all she wrote. That's what I think. Accidental meetings. Alejandro Encinas, the Undersecretary of Human Rights, said on Monday during the Commission's first session that disappearances that occur across the country are linked to the corruption of the police forces and linked to organized crime that proliferates across the country. At the start of the so-called war against drug trafficking, drug trafficking, or Guerra contra el Narco in Spanish, in 2006. According to Encinas, it was this war on drugs that left an open wound inherited by presidents to come and remains a central point in the search for those disappeared in order to guarantee truth and justice. Since 2006, when the war on drugs was initiated by former President Felipe Calderón Hinojosa, it looks like. Hinojosa. 94,000 people. There we go. It is tens of thousands. 94,000 people have been forcefully disappeared across Mexico since 2006. Through the collective, families have come together, not only to share in their grief, but to help each other, especially when it comes to contacting local authorities for updates on their cases. Next up, is from Sam Heine, it looks like. Sam Heinef. Oh, we'll see in a second. Sam Heinef. Project Bluebeam. The Times of India. What is Project Bluebeam? The Project Bluebeam is a conspiracy theory. I thought it was a military operation. This from Times of India.indiatimes.com. Any author? Negative. Maybe at the bottom. Yes, the author is Kuldeep Kumar Hine or Kuldeep Kumar Jain, Mumbai. But that's very short. It says here it's a conspiracy theory about a supposed project whose purpose is to create an artificial second coming in order to control the people. Per the theory, the New World Order's purpose is to abolish all Christian and traditional religions in order to replace them with a one world religion based on the cult of man, or to abolish all national identities and national pride in order to establish a world government. Gotchaman says, we have something similar, but not to that extent, in The Highway of Tears. But most of the information is from Wikipedia. You can't find a good article to read. Thank you, Gotchaman. Bye, Taco. Good luck with the plumber. Yeah, evidently Taco's bathroom is now completely, what would you say, deinstalled, completely completely set for the remodel. And I think she's expecting plumbers and electricians. Sam Hine says all conspiracy theories are military operations, and vice versa. Let's look for another source. Here we go. This is the Bluebeam I know. From the Economic Times of India. Hopefully it's longer than the last story from India. And not bad. No, we're not signing up. You can go away. No author at the top. How about author at the bottom? No author this time. Given. U.S. shoots down mystery objects. Speculations over aliens. And Project Bluebeam grow. A rough translation into the English, I take it. Ever since the U.S. shot down mystery objects in February. This from February of last year. There have been rumors that the object might be an alien spaceship. However, there has been no official confirmation about the nature of unidentified flying objects, which was shot down according to a Daily Star report. American fighter jets shot down 4 high-altitude jets in the airspace above the U.S. and Canada starting on February 4th. While a spy balloon on February 4th was linked to China, 3 other objects sighted over Canada, Michigan, and Alaska are yet to be classified. while interacting with the media. U.S. Air Force General Glenn Van Herk has revealed that intelligence services were looking into all possibilities, as per the Daily Star report. Subsequently, there have been talks about a bizarre theory, Project Bluebeam, on the social media. What is Project Bluebeam? It's a long-standing conspiracy theory. Canadian investigative journalist Serge Monast first talked about the theory in the mid-1990s. The theory, which has resurfaced again, claims the project was created by agents of the Pentagon and NASA. In 1994, Monast alleged in an investigation piece that the United Nations and NASA were aiming to create a new age religion. Monast was arrested twice, in 95 and 96. He died of a heart attack. After his death, the theory remains popular. Is there something with a bit more meat on the bone, as they say? Let's travel away from India. And away. It won't go back unless I hold it down and go to here. All right. What's the deal with Project Bluebeam? This is from 2023 as well, February. There we go to Reddit. Yeah, what? Yeah, please. What? How do we go there? More on Reddit. I've seen posts recently on Twitter of the U.S. government's Project Bluebeam to unite the world under one government. Where did this come from? What's it about? Answer from Major Lennox. At least that's his name on Reddit. Project Bluebeam is a 1994 conspiracy theory by Serge Monast, which details a plot to abolish all Christian traditional religions in order to replace them by a cult of man, to abolish all national identity and pride in order to establish a world identity, to abolish the family as known today in order to replace it by individuals all working for the glory of a one-world government. On the part of a new world order, using advanced holographic techniques and such, to simulate a second coming of Christ across the skies worldwide. The theory has morphed over the years to replace the second coming with a hoax alien invasion, the threat of which would cause humanity to band together under the aforementioned world government. The recent shooting down of a UFO over Alaska has led to resurgence of the theory. Whether it's Project Bluebeam Phase Number 1, Drax Laugh says, so they think the plot of Watchmen is becoming real. What is a plot of Watchmen? I must know. Go to our standard place. We can do AI there. Home. What is the plot of the popular comic Watchmen? Wait, I want to answer with AI. Plot synopsis. Watchmen is dragon. Turn off the dragon. Watchmen is a 12-issue comic book limited series taking place in an alternate universe where superheroes exist but have been outlawed by the government. That sounds more like X-Men than Project Bluebeam. So, no. Not really. Fabulous Knight says, government is very incompetent at most things, and it is basically impossible to implement any sort of fake alien invasion. Excuse me. Oh boy. Coffee or not? I'm thinking not. We have a correction from Gotcha Man. Thank you, Gotcha. To wit, in the comic book, Ozymandias materializes an alien squid. No, that's the proper spelling. Gotcha Man. That is Ozymandias. Materializes an alien squid monster, and the U.S. and Russia joined forces to kill it instead of nuking each other. So I stand corrected. Thank you, G. Much appreciated. Okay, we have some debunking going on here. Let's go on to green tea. Going home first. And green tea's idea. The Squirrel Cage Jail in Gallatin, Missouri. How did it work? Good question. It's a unique rotary jail. One of only 3 remaining in the country. Squirrel Cage Jail. And we're going to borrow some knowledge from Atlas Obscura at atlasobscura.com. An article, in a very short article. We have a call. We have a call from the from my wife. Let me go offline here on audio for a second. Okay. My wife tells me it is important. So I do have something set up here for you today. One of my old videos, which you may not recognize. This is during my format in which I was doing the voices for comic books, public domain horror comics. And this is one in which Synchro 505 is the narrator. So when you hear the narration, that's Synchro 505. I do all the other voices. So while I go help out my my wife, who really needs help.
At the sound of Ari's drum.
I see my little drum has caught your eye, Mr. Henshaw. It is called the Drum of Ari. There isn't another like it in all of India. Drum of Ari, eh? Who's he?
On a hot, sultry afternoon, in a small curio shop in Calcutta's colorful native quarter, a disreputable-looking young man examined the cluttered objects with a studious eye. Suddenly, his gaze stopped on a small drum, and unknown to him, the first step of his baffling adventure had already begun.
Hello, my name is Bill. Welcome to the channel. And allow me to introduce our special guest star, Mike Mullen of Los Angeles, voice actor, composer, and founder of the production company Positrosmic Music. Mike is the narrator of this chilling tale, and that's not all. Beginning with an episode uploaded last month, he has provided all the incidental music for the NightTerrors channel. Check out the description below for links to his YouTube channel, as well as his longer musical compositions for television and film. And don't forget, he is a double threat as a voice actor portraying characters for animated shows. Thank you.
Some say that he is the spirit of a great dead hunter. Others believe him to be the ruler of the dark powers beneath the earth.
He must be quite a guy.
Ari, according to one ancient legend, is a monstrous supernatural being who travels about with a pack of vicious hounds. Some say that when the drum is beaten, Ari himself would answer the call.
And people actually believe that rubbish.
It is a story of my people, Mr. Henshaw, not rubbish. Of course, as I strike the drum, nothing really takes place. However, the legend adds to its charm, making it a true collector's piece.
He's right. Offhand, there are at least a dozen collectors in Calcutta who would give me a good price for it.
Snatching up the drum, Henshaw slipped out into the noisy street.
I killed him, but no one saw me enter or leave. I have nothing to worry about. In a few minutes, I'll be safe at home.
That night, as Henshaw considered means of disposing of his prize, he absent-mindedly tapped his fingers against the drum's taut skin, unmindful of what was taking place.
Lord Huntley would give at least 300 pounds for it, if not more. If I hold out, I might... Wait. That odor, it smells like...
As a cry of horror bubbled from the murderer's lips, the swirling mist took shape, form, and substance.
It's becoming alive. Rasu was right. It's Ari. And now you'll kill me.
No, I have come for the drum, to return it to my own secret temple in the lower regions. Yet there still is one thing more before I can claim it. It is said that I must grant 3 requests to the one who possesses the drum last. Name them, murderer, and they shall be done.
3 requests, huh? Maybe I'd better think about it. I wouldn't want to rush it.
Moments later, when the demon vanished.
If what he said is true, this drum could make me the most powerful man in the world. I must see Nana. She'll change her attitude toward me now.
That evening, at the Buddha Cafe.
You know how I feel about you, Nana. And now at last I can do things for you. Buy you anything you want. I can take you out of this filthy place.
You've been saying that for over a year. Why, you can't even afford a new suit of clothes.
This time I know what I'm talking about. You'll see, Nana. I'll prove it to you.
Then prove it. Until then, leave me alone. You bore me.
Later that same night, as a ghostly moon rode the heavens, Henshaw took his drum to a lonely spot outside the city.
This is as good a spot as any. I wouldn't want to risk anyone seeing me now.
You called me back very quickly. Have you thought of your first request?
Yes, I want money. Wealth. Lots of it. Give me money, Ari. Enough to last a lifetime.
A short while later, when they stood before the ancient, crumbling temple.
Why, there's nothing here but a lot of worthless rubble. Where's the wealth you promised?
Patience, my little murderer. The hidden treasures of the world are no secret to Ari. Now watch closely. Behold.
Moments later, when the smoke cleared.
It's a flight of steps down into the earth.
and your fortune awaits below, in the hidden treasure chamber of the ancient temple. Hurry.
Plunging headlong down the stairs, the greedy murderer was dazzled by the blazing sight that greeted his eyes and clutching hands.
Pearls, diamonds, gold, and it's all mine. Nana will think differently of me now. She'll learn to love me.
3 months later, with Nana as his bride and a huge fortune at his disposal, Henshaw settled down to a life of ease and comfort. Then, one evening, at dinner.
You've been acting so cool lately, my dear. Is there anything in particular you may want? All you need do is name it, and it's yours. No, it's just that I have a headache. If you don't mind, I think I'll take a walk in the garden.
Minutes later, in the garden.
Charles, is that you?
I've been waiting here 10 minutes. What kept you?
I'm afraid, Charles. I think he's becoming suspicious. I don't think it's safe for us to meet here anymore.
Meanwhile, from a window above.
So that's what she's been up to. Cheating on me. Playing me for a fool. They'll both pay for this. And now.
Snatching up the drum, Henshaw summoned the monster Ari.
Are you ready for your second request?
Yes. I want those two in the garden killed. Hurry, before he leaves.
Moments later, the quiet garden air was shattered by the blood-curdling howls of the frenzied pack.
Nana, look!
They're coming straight for us. They're wild beasts.
And when Nana's maid burst upon the bloody scene.
My mistress, she's dead. You killed her. You set dogs upon her. I heard you. Wait, she cheated on me, but I didn't. Help! Murder! Police! They'll blame me for their deaths. They'll hang me. I must do something fast. My drum. I still have one request left me. I'll escape them yet. The drum and Ari will save me.
I appear for the third and final time. What is your final request?
The police will be here any moment. You must hide me from them. They mustn't find me. I hear them coming. They'll be here in a minute. You have my last request. Now do as I command.
I shall keep my part of the bargain.
What are you doing? Let me go.
Your third request is that I hide you from the police, and I shall do just that. Where we go, they shall never find you. You shall be hidden well, my little murderer, far beneath the earth, in my fiery underworld domain, where I rule supreme.
Don't.
And when the police dashed up, a split second later.
I'd swear I heard him scream, Captain. Right from the spot.
Me too, Rahani. But there's not a trace of him. It's a strange business. A very strange business.
I like that. I like that music. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? Squirrel Gauge. Known as the Squirrel Cage Jail, this structure is only one of 3 left in the country. Built in 1889 and made entirely of steel. Its rotating design demonstrates what was considered an innovative method for incarceration, while at the same time harkening back to the olden days, when it was fine to keep prisoners in dungeon-like conditions. Rotary jails first came about in the late 19th century, largely in the Midwest. They featured wedge-shaped cells arranged around a central hub, which could spin thanks to a hand-cranked mechanism beneath the cells. That rotation meant that the door could only be accessed from a single opening. Gallatin's rotary gel remained in use until 1964, when the cage was dismantled for safety reasons. The building was still used as a jail until 1975. It later reopened as a visitor center, which includes tours of the original jail facility, sans the iron structure, I guess. Sans the spinning, without the spinning structure. The tour also takes you into the adjoining sheriff's residence, which has displays about Jesse James and public executions. Okay, guys, that's about it for tonight. There's a movie this Wednesday. 2 movies, in fact, double feature. I have not picked them yet, but they're going to be from my collection. The first one's guaranteed to be a horror film, and the second one may be as well. So don't forget to join us. And don't forget to join us tomorrow for the Tuesday night edition of Viewers Research. At 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Until then, may God bless and protect you all.